We're going to hop into questions here, Theo. We're going to begin with Eric Bailey of the Tulsa World, and we'll go to Joe Bettner. Eric?
Hey, Theo, I was just wondering, how fortunate do you feel with just having the opportunity to play football this fall, especially with what's happened over in the Pac-12? And do you keep contact with your former teammates and just sense any frustration?
I'm very fortunate, obviously me having to miss a whole year, obviously due to injury this past season. And then uh, obviously with these circumstances and also me hurting myself again when I first got here. But I keep in contact with them all the time. They're obviously very frustrated. They're just kind of on standby right now. Like obviously there's been rumblings about them perhaps potentially playing later on in November. But I mean, I think they're all just staying ready and just trying to stay prepared for whatever happens next.
Thanks, Theo.
Okay, we'll go to Joe Bettner with the Norman transcript and then Jason Kersey.
Theo, having gone through the first bye week and it being oddly placed after your first game, I'm curious how competitive this past week of practices have been for you guys as far as maybe compared to a normal bye week where you're kind of maybe resting or resetting.
Very competitive. I think I've had past bye weeks where, guys will get a couple of days off and it'll be a little more laid back, and people who don't really get as many reps usually are getting a lot more reps. But this week we definitely we kept the foot on the pedal. We really didn't have any off days, and we had a lot of competitive periods. So it's definitely different than it has been in the past.
Thank you.
Go to Jason Kersey of The Athletic and then Ryan Aber.
Hey, Theo, just as an older guy who's been around different places, I'm just curious how you view this receiver group. How good do you think this group can be? What do you see as the strengths of this group, sort of from a wider perspective?
I've been around a lot of receiver groups, obviously, over my years, but we have a lot of young guys with an immense amount of talent. Obviously, you start on my side of the ball with Theo Wees, Trayvon West, and you go over to Marvin Mims, to Rambo. We have Trajan, Hazelwood. We have a lot of talent. Really, the sky's the limit for this group. I don't think we necessarily have one strength. I think all of us bring something different to the table. So, whenever we get all of our guys back and we get back into it, I think we're definitely going to be dangerous.
Thank you, Theo.
Ryan Aber with the Oklahoman and then John Hoover.
Yeah, Theo, Lincoln just talked about a little bit about your injury and how fast you came back from that. What was that experience like going through for you? And did you ever wonder if you'd be able to play football this year?
Yeah, it was definitely different. I had basically just gotten to Oklahoma, and probably like 2 weeks into it, obviously I tore my Achilles and I had surgery right after. But going into spring ball, not knowing what was going to happen next with COVID, I think most of my concerns were just being about how was I going to attack rehab and stuff like that, since I was over back home and where that was going to get back on time. But just overall throughout that process, I attacked rehab every single day and just really stayed patient and tried to focus on what I control. And eventually I came back. Most people aren't really able to come back from Achilles injuries in 5-6 months like I did. So I'm very thankful for that.
Appreciate it, Theo.
John Hoover with SI Sooners and then Keegan Rennell.
Hey, Theo, I'm interested in exploring your transfer a little bit. You played in that game against Oklahoma last year. Was there something about the team that night that attracted you, or have you always kind of had your eye on certain programs?
There was nothing really specific that night. I had obviously, when I made my decision, I had always, I had been recruited by OU out of high school. I had a relationship with Coach Simmons because he actually had offered me at Washington State when I was a junior in high school. And when he went to Oklahoma, he also offered me. So I had always obviously seen, you always see Oklahoma and what they're able to do with their guys. So I kind of always had them in the back of my head.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Keegan Renault with Sooners Wire and then James Hale.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You've now gotten to play under Chip Kelly and now Lincoln Riley. Just what has it been like, playing under Lincoln and then obviously learning the growth under another offensive mind like Chip Kelly?
It's been great. My move here has it was really not too hard or anything like that. They made it very easy on me. Coach Riley is somebody who I can go to and talk to anytime I need to, and just ask him a question or ask him for some help. And I'm enjoying my role on this team. I'm happy to be with all the guys. Everybody's been cool to me, and yeah.
Okay, we'll go to James Hale with KREF, and then Myron Patton.
Hey, Theo, hope things are going well. Lincoln mentioned a minute ago that you're a better player, or he thinks that you're a better player now than you were the last couple of years because you refined some little things and they were able to work with you on some little things in your game. Now, you've been such an accomplished player. I'm curious, what those little things are. And do you feel like you're a better player now in your career despite the injury?
I think so. For me, every year, I've always tried to focus on just fixing one aspect or area of my game. Obviously, coming to OU, obviously I was hurt and I got back, and there were still like little things in my game that I always felt I needed to fix. Little things just like physicality and stuff like that. And having a coach like Coach Simmons and Coach Riley, they're always pushing me to make sure I'm trying to get better every day and being great. So, yeah.
Thanks, Theo.
Yeah, we'll go to Myron Patton with Fox 25, and then Brandon Drum.
Yeah, Theo, what was the toughest transition to come to Oklahoma after you left UCLA? What was it tough, I guess, maybe a better question, when you got here? What was the biggest transition you had to deal with?
Obviously, it's different for me just because I got here and right off the bat, I had an injury and had a lot of downtime to myself. But other than that injury, I think the biggest transition would be the weather I experienced here. It was really cold when I got here, and then obviously you get that change going from springtime into summer, and it just gets really hot and humid. So I think that would be the biggest thing for me.
Okay, let's go to Brandon Drum with OU Insider.
Hey, Theo, talk about, I guess, your experience. You've had quite the experience since transferring. Obviously, it's been the injury, then COVID, and then the social issues and all that since you've come to Oklahoma. Can you kind of walk just how this year has been for you, the process and all that?
Yeah, I mean, this year really has been a year that I don't think any of us obviously could have predicted. There's so much stuff going on, and obviously you talked about it, my injury, COVID, and all the social injustice issues. You really try to take it in and really formulate an opinion about what you think about all these things going on. But at the same time, you really try to just focus and not try to lose your head and really just be in the moment and be in the present. So, yeah.
Okay, and we'll go back to John Hoover for one more question.
Hang on, got to unmute. After the injury and the transfer and the injury here, Theo, can you describe just what it meant to you? Take us back to a couple of Saturdays ago, what it meant to you, what it felt like to be out there in that season opener catching passes again.
It was really great, man. It's really been a long road for me this past year and a half, I would say. When I got out there, I was really just taking in every moment I could. I mean, especially when I got back in fall camp, I was really just taking in every rep, every moment, just because you never know when this game could get taken away from you, especially me obviously coming back, but I never know if God has something else in store for me, another injury or something like that. But I really just try to focus on what's up ahead and really just cherish every moment.
Thank you.